Hello, you guys. So, have you ever had that moment with financial advice where you've thought, oh, where it just either makes you nervous just listening to it, or you're thinking of all the things that could go wrong had somebody followed this advice, whatever? I've had that experience many times. So, today I wanted to talk about all the things, not all of them, but at least a few of them, that I have thought, oh boy. And I'm so glad I didn't listen to the advice. So I'll tell you what the advice is and why I'm glad I didn't listen to it. Number one, I'm glad I did not stop our 401k contributions while we were getting out of debt, because I wouldn't have been in a position to make a pretty good return when 2020 came around. So a lot of people were pulling their money out of the stock market during the pandemic and all of that craziness. Well, before that, we were paying off debt. And so I'm glad that we continued with those, just the employer match contributions. We were not doing our IRAs. We did wait to do those until after we were done, paying our debt off and getting our emergency fund set up and all of that. But I'm so glad that we continued with the employer match, because it did put us in a position to make a pretty good return during the pandemic. So, and we wouldn't have had as much invested, had we stopped doing all of that while we were paying off debt. So this one is kind of a doozy. So I know all over YouTube, there's all of these people talking about leveraging other people's money to buy real estate. Now, I already have a loan on my regular property, on my home. I am so glad that I never got into the rental thing, taking out loans for rental properties or an Airbnb or any of that. Because when I was thinking about it was in 2019, somewhere around there. Had I done that, you guys, oh man, here comes the pandemic, right? And there's a lot of people that I know, and also people on YouTube, where when the government decided that renters didn't have to pay, their rent, those mortgage companies still wanted their money. And supposedly there was programs out there for landlords. I have no idea. And nobody that I know of was able to get in on any of those programs. So I'm just so thankful. And now I'm thankful again that I never did that, because the Airbnb market is kind of, the bottom of it's dropping out a little bit. And so I'm just glad I never did that. I was starting to get on that bandwagon, and I thought, I could get some extra cash flow, this kind of thing. I'm so glad I didn't do it. It was an absolute nightmare for a lot of the landlords that I know. And I worked with several of them. A few of them didn't have any problem, but some of them did. Their renters weren't paying their rent because, they didn't want to, I guess, and they were still working and everything, but whatever. I'm just glad I never did that. So if I'm going to buy real estate, I'm buying it with cash, and I do hope to do that one of these days. Next piece of advice I'm so glad I didn't listen to was thinking of debt as leverage. Well, you can change the name all you want, but it's still debt. And debt affects me. It affects my body. I hate it. I absolutely hate it. Can't stand it. It just feels like a ton of bricks on my shoulders. And even if I was making a good return on it, whatever, I still would have that feeling that I owe somebody money. I can't do that. And I do understand that a lot of these billionaires and all of that, that's their thing. And, that's amazing. I think it's awesome. They happen to know the right people, the right contacts at these different banks and whatever, which, good for them. It's just not for me. I don't want the risk factor, because the risk factor is worse than any benefit I'm going to get out of it. That's just me personally. Another piece of advice I'm glad I didn't take is having everything automated. Now, I mean, all of your bills are paid online, you don't have a bank, basically, is what I'm saying. There's so many people who don't have a bank. And I love having a bank. So taking cash to the bank to make deposits. I was a server, I had a lot of cash. Take it to the bank, make those deposits, and in the meantime, I'm making relationships with those people. So when I need something, they are, we have a relationship. So I'm in a much better position to do business with them because we have a relationship. Now, you can't do that with somebody over the phone. You don't have that relationship, I bring them stuff, bring them Christmas candies and coffee beans and stuff like that. And it's amazing. So here's an interesting story. Well, this has happened several times. So many times, every week I'd go in and take a bunch of cash, deposit it, and probably once every couple of months, the bank would call me and say, just to let you know, we put $40 in your account, or $75 in your account, or $35 in your account, because I was the one who came in that had the most cash. And so whenever they were off at the end of the day, I'm the one that they thought of, and so they put that into my account. Now, that would not have happened at all had we not had a good relationship. It's just, I think relationships are important. And I also like being able to go and talk to a person. Like if I take my checkbook register in there, this is not right. I paid this time, blah, blah, blah. I can see them face to face. We can see each other. We can feel what's going on. I just find that very important. To me, that is way, way more important than any kind of so-called convenience that would be from having everything automated. This one may ruffle some feathers, but it's minimalism. I love the tenets of minimalism. I like that you just have the things that you need. I get that. I think that's a great idea, in theory. I also think where I live, it's about half an hour away from town. We go grocery shopping once a week. There's been different times where we've lost power out here, and nobody takes anything other than cash. And it's ice and snow, and you're not going all the way to town because it's literally an ice skating rink. So, that being said, it's important that we have things that we can pull on at our house. I'm not saying have a hoarder house. I'm not saying have a million of everything. I'm just saying that if I were to have only 4 towels, 4 washcloths, whatever, I wouldn't have those things to use for other things. If I were to have only enough groceries for us for a week, those different times in the winter when we're not getting to town as often, say, or if something is wrong with one of the vehicles, whatever the case may be, or a pandemic happens and there's things not at the store, that's another thing. I am not okay with being in a position where I need something and I don't have it. So I have a surplus of things. However, I keep those things pretty organized. And that does kind of go along with minimalism, but this whole having just as much as you need, I don't know, I don't like that idea. Plus, I like giving people things. It's just not I love the idea of having everything organized. You know where it is, all of that. I think that is one of the biggest things about minimalism, is just not having chaos in your home. It's amazing. I love that. So as far as that goes, I'm all about it. But as far as having the 3 of this and 2 of that and 1 of another thing and only enough dishes for you to eat off of or whatever, we have way too many people in and out of our house to have just enough for us. I have many times throughout the year, we have a whole bunch of people over. So me just having enough is not an option. And we have sometimes people come without their jackets. They don't have a swimsuit. They don't have a towel. They don't have, whatever the case may be. I have those things, but they're also pretty well organized. So I just wanted to throw that out there. I know everybody is into minimalism, and I love the idea of it. And I do use some parts of it, but the extreme minimalism is not for me. And I just don't see how it would be sustainable if you had, anyway, that's the end of that. So if you like this video, please give it a like, subscribe, share, and I will see you in the next video. All right, bye.